BeHamBroker.com. That is the place to go to take your vehicle if you've got something to sell. If you got a car, truck, or SUV, and you know you're going to be in the market, take care of that at Birmingham Broker. Let them handle it. They do all the work. You don't have to stress. Man, selling a vehicle is stressful. It is to me, and Birmingham Broker can handle that for you. They do everything. They help. First thing is assess the vehicle and get you a good price because that's key. You got to ask the right price. In my case, when I first met Craig, they sold. I had a truck for. It just turned out I had a truck for sale. They wanted to advertise on the show. I said, "Well, let's see what you can do, biggin. Come on, man." He goes, "I can get you $2,000 more for that truck than you've got. What are you asking for it?" And I told him, and he said, "I can get you $2,000 more for that. That truck would sell here, here, and here." He knew the markets where trucks were in demand, and sure enough, he did it, and it blew my mind. It was way more than I had anticipated, and of course, minus their consignment fee, I just did better, and my eyes were opened, and I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to go clean it up and meet some goober in the parking lot and let him tell me there's a dent over here on the left side. Have you seen this? You know how they try to get you down on price. You ain't got to fool with all that indignity. Turn it over to Birmingham Broker, get a retail check, then go find you a fine vehicle at one of these dealers around town. Craig can help you track one down too. They are brokers. And he may have one from another client that's what you're looking for. They match make all the time that way. And it really works. That's when the magic happens, when you've got the exact buyer at the exact circumstance that wants your exact vehicle. That's how it works. BeHamBroker.com, downtown Birmingham. Great, easy access. You drive right into the building. Nice, safe area down there for you to drive in and let them look at what you got. BeHamBroker.com, BeHamBroker.com. All right, so let's tee it up for this hour because we may have some developments. One, well, let's start in L.A. They've got a lectern set up with a L.A. Logo or something, and they're about to come out and give an update on this Rob Reiner murders. And pardon me, but I forget his wife's name. I think it was Mary Ann or something.
Michelle, I think it was
She
Michelle.
just wasn't as well known, of course, but their own son, it appears, according to the authorities, slashed their throats and stabbed them to death. Now, the way the Hollywood rumor
And her name
mills,
was Michelle.
Michelle, yeah, and the way the rumor mill is working out there in Hollywood, as you would imagine, the TMZ types, that whole Reiner and his son and his wife were at a party for Conan. Well, Conan O'Brien was hosting a party, probably a holiday thing or something. And the father and son got into such a heated exchange in front of everybody that the mother and son had to leave. And so that being the case, we don't have a firm timeline on when the murders happened. The bodies were discovered the next day. There's even a report that Barack and Michelle Obama were supposed to have a connection with the Reiners that evening as well. I don't know why that didn't work out. It's probably fortunate for the Obamas. Maybe it would have been more fortunate for Rob Reiner because there would have been Secret Service protection there. He would have been protected against his own family member, I guess. But no need speculating. So some are saying that fight might have spilled over into the domestic situation that went down in California. But we're going to get an update from authorities out there here in a minute. See if they're probably going to announce more formal charges. They were not able to do a preliminary hearing today because the dude's still in the hospital. I assume mental health deal. Lawyers are probably putting up that excuse, and we move on. Speaking of excuses, how convenient Hillary Clinton wound up in the hospital. She was supposed to testify before Congress tomorrow, but they had to call the hearing off. Hey, Jay, she can't make it. She's in the hospital with a non-life-threatening disease.
I mean, I would have been like,
something.
Was that a bat?
Yeah. She's being scrubbed clean right now. She's using bleach spit on herself. Anyway, that's a side note. And then there's back to the Brown University thing. A lot of new videos out just a few minutes ago as we were in the break. And it's of the police driving right past this alleged shooter with their lights on heading to the scene. In other words, he's loping down the sidewalk and he goes right past them. Now, look, I'm not blaming the police on that. It's chaotic. They don't even know what they're dealing with. We know more than they would have known in that moment. We're all Monday morning quarterbacking some ways. But then there's this other story that's really getting a lot of volume right now where a Brown University website for a student who apparently was a big activist on the campus, Free Palestine, LGBTQ, all that stuff. He's got a little picture of him with his Palestine scarf on and all that. Suddenly and he fits the description of the suspect to a T. He looks just like, you take the mask of that suspect, it looks like this guy. I'm not indicting him, so I'm not going to say his name, other than to say they've scrubbed all his social media presence from the school's websites, and they say social media is also scrubbing this guy's platform. He's 27 years old, or no, I take that back. He would have been in the class of 27. So who knows if this is going to end up being the person they name in the Brown situation. And here's the question: Did the Popo have all this information, and is this what they're hiding? That it was campus politics, and their very open culture, this Free Palestine movement, the harassment of people on campus that disagree with those folks. Was that it? Was it political, or did this girl just reject him? And sometimes these are domestic information situations where they've had a personal run-in or something. You never know. You never know. But all I know is Brown is hiding something. Now, L.A. apparently has popped up live. We'll go down to Los Angeles and listen in on this situation about the Rob Reiner murders. Who's this talking right now, AJ? Can you tell? They don't have graphics on the screen yet.
I can't tell now.
We got a cop and a couple of two white boys in ties, so who knows? It's not the mayor of Los Angeles for sure. She hadn't horned in on this one. I guess this looks like maybe a PR flack telling you know how they'll come out ahead of time and tell them the drill. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take 5 questions. Okay, here we go. Here's the news conference.
Not yet.
Hey, just give me a thumbs up in there. You've got the audio and I can't hear it. I can only see what they're doing.
Okay,
right, here we go.
Reiner, who is accused of killing his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner, and photographer-producer Michelle Singer Reiner. These charges will be 2 counts of first-degree murder with a special circumstance of multiple murders. He also faces a special allegation that he personally used a dangerous and deadly weapon, that being a knife. These charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. No decision at this point has been made with respect to the death penalty. We have requested, and currently Nick Reiner is being held without bail. Now, in announcing charges, I also want to announce that they're just that. They are charges. Charges are not evidence. Evidence is something that we will be presenting in a court of law to meet the standard of proof we meet in every criminal case, which is beyond a reasonable doubt, to 12 jurors who you'll unanimously have to find that we've met that standard to prove the charges we bring to court. Right now, with respect to the process, once the charges get filed this afternoon, Nick Reiner will be then brought to court. He is going through medical clearance, something that everybody who gets arrested and gets held in a Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department jail goes through. Once he is medically cleared, he will be brought to court to be arraigned on these charges. At that point, he will enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. Now, prosecuting these cases involving family members are some of the most challenging and most heart-wrenching cases that this office faces because of the intimate and often brutal nature of the crimes involved. Rob Reiner was a brilliant actor and director, an iconic force in our entertainment industry for decades. His wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, was an equally iconic photographer and producer. Their loss is beyond tragic, and we will commit ourselves to bringing their murderer to justice. I want to thank LAPD Chief McDonnell, who is here today, along with Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton from the LAPD and LAPD Captain Scott Williams and the entire robbery homicide division, who literally has been working around the clock to gather the evidence that have led to the charges we're going to be filing today. Also from my office, I have Assistant District Attorney Maria Ramirez. I have Director of Specialized Prosecutions John McKinney. I have our head deputy of major crimes, Craig Hum. And I have the two prosecutors who will be leading the prosecution in this case, Assistant Head Deputy of Major Crimes, Habib Balian, and Deputy District Attorney for Major Crimes, Jonathan Chung. They will bring their decades of experience to holding this murderer accountable for his actions. At this point, again, you will hear in the media rumors, you will hear speculation, you will hear hearsay. What I'm asking everyone to do is to rely on trusted sources. If it doesn't come from the District Attorney's Office, from LAPD, from the Coroner's Office, or from the courtroom itself, then there's a good chance you are hearing misinformation. Because at the appropriate time, the actual evidence involved in this case will be presented in a court of law. So I ask for your patience until that is done. But again, please do not rely on rank speculation, rumor, or hearsay to believe that you understand anything about what went on in this case. I'd now like to turn it over to Chief McDonald.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here today. And it's with deep sadness that I address the tragic loss of Robert and Michelle Reiner. On December 14, 2025, LAPD officers from our West Los Angeles division responded to a death investigation at the 200 block of South Chadbourne Avenue, which is in the Brentwood section of Los Angeles. Upon entering the residence, they discovered the bodies of Mr. and Mrs. Reiner. Detectives from our Robbery Homicide Division Homicide Special Section immediately initiated a comprehensive investigation. The evidence gathered led to the arrest of their son, Nick Reiner, who was taken into custody later that night without incident in the Exposition Park section of our city. Today, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office has formally filed charges against Mr. Reiner for the murder of his parents. This case is heartbreaking and deeply personal, not only for the Reiner family and their loved ones, but for our entire city. We extend our deepest condolences to all of those who were affected by this tragedy. I want to take a moment to recognize and thank our criminal justice partners, the District Attorney's Office led by D.A. Hochman, and everyone who worked tirelessly on this investigation. Their swift action, professionalism, and commitment to justice have been instrumental in bringing clarity and accountability to this case. The LAPD remains steadfast in our mission to protect life and uphold justice. We will continue to support the Reiner family and ensure that every step forward is taken with care, dignity, and resolve. Thank you.
We'll now take some questions. Yes, right here in the front.
Mr. Attorney, could you talk about why you feel this case rises to special circumstances?
So special circumstances is a situation where one of the enumerated factors that lead to elevating in some ways a first-degree murder case to a special circumstance first-degree murder case occurs. One of those special circumstances is called multiple murders. Here we have two, and it qualifies under the definition of multiple murders to allege the special circumstance in this particular case.
Chief,
I saw over here.
Nick Reiner found, and was there any evidence on him indicating a crime, and did he say anything?
Yeah, he was found with good, solid police work, investigative tools used by Robbery Homicide and Gang and Narcotic Division detectives with the U.S. Marshal Service Task Force involved as well. So we're thankful for the work that was done. I won't go into talking about what was found or anything that could potentially taint the investigation.
Chief, one quick follow-up question,
Yeah.
sir. Given Nick's history of drug use, was there any indication that he was under the influence at the time of this crime?
No, thank you again. That's another question I can't touch.
And following up on that, is there any evidence of mental illness in his background?
Yeah, you can talk.
I'm sorry, please repeat the question.
Is there any evidence of mental illness in his background beyond the addiction?
The evidence, any evidence, if there is any, of mental illness for his background will be coming out in the hearings that will occur. We anticipate, again, after the arraignment, the process will go through the normal process a case like this goes through. At the appropriate time, if there is evidence of mental illness, it will be presented in court and in whatever detail the defense seeks to do that.
Speak about his state of mind.
Yes, right here.
Are you anticipating any kind of significant delay in bringing this case to trial on the basis perhaps that Dick may have to undergo significant psychological evaluation, which would also give your people what they need in order to background to what might describe why his actions happened the way they did?
We don't anticipate any significant delay more than is involved in a first-degree murder case with special circumstances. These are some of the most serious charges that a DA's office can bring against anyone. And we anticipate that the discovery that we will produce to the defense will be robust. It will be very involved. They'll want adequate time to review it. They'll want to go through every single factor that they can ascertain in the defense of Mr. Nick Reiner. So again, this will proceed along the tracks that many of the first-degree murder cases proceed. Do I anticipate it being particularly fast? No. I anticipate it being very thorough. Yes, right here.
Cause of death and time of death. Can you share any information about that?
We are not at this time. Yes. Yes, right here.
Will the members of the Reiner family help with your investigation so far, and did they provide any information or assistance which led to Nick being arrested?
Let me defer to the chief on this.
Good.
Hi, I'm Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton, Chief of Detectives. We don't have any specific information we're going to release at this time regarding the family's information they provided. As we move forward, that information will be discussed in the appropriate venue, which will be the court.
Yes, in the front here.
Sorry for the chief. Can you talk anything more about just not the condition that Nick was in when he was arrested? Was he a resident? Was he walking around? Was he observed by people in the neighborhood? Like anything else you can tell us about the case?
You want to take us? Yeah.
So specifically, he was arrested in a public area, in the Exposition Park area near the University of Southern California campus. He was approached by the officers and he was arrested without incident. There were no indications that he was going to resist or anything like that. He didn't flee or anything like that. He was taken into custody without issue, and he was transported to our police headquarters facility.
Take a question back there. Yes. He has been alleged, one of these special allegations is that the murder was committed with a deadly weapon or a knife. As to where and how the weapon was located or will be located, that will actually be evidence we'll present in court.
We got two more questions. Where were the victims found?
Let me take a question over here.
Give us a timeline of when you think the murders occurred, because now we know that there was an altercation on Saturday night at a party. Do we know that this happened Saturday night or maybe Sunday morning?
I'll defer to the chief on this one.
Yeah, we don't have that kind of specificity yet. We're waiting the coroner to be able to try and determine as best they can at this point time of death.
Chief, where were the victims found? Can you say where the victims were found?
Who called 911? Mr. Oxley, can I?
We'll take the question back there.
Yes. Can you tell us who called 911?
Chief, if you
we
know.
got a radio call from fire department. Thank you.
I can. Okay, so in terms of how the Los Angeles Police Department became aware, it was a request from the Los Angeles Fire Department, who responded to the scene first. We responded to their request for assistance at the scene of the incident. Our initial West LA officers that responded determined that a crime had occurred, and they immediately notified our Robbery Homicide Division. They've responded, and they've taken over the investigation since that point.
Thank you, everybody.
We'll take one more question. I'll take it right here.
I know you're hesitant to talk about sensitive evidence, but based on the evidence collected to support these charges, did that include an admission by the defendant to the alleged crime?
So any statements made by the defendant at any point in time would be the type of evidence we will be presenting in court. Let me take one. I'll take one last question right here.
Sorry, I have a question.
Hold on one second. I just identified this gentleman.
Oh, I thought you were pointing at me.
Sorry.
Do you have an estimated time for completion of the autopsy and the information coming from the medical examiner to your office and to the detective?
We do not have the estimated time that it will take. We know that they're working on it expeditiously, but as to when they deliver it, we do not have that estimated time. I'll take that one last question back there.
I was just wondering, I know these types of cases are especially difficult. How much do you take into account what the family wants when it comes to charges when you're dealing with a domestic situation like that? And does that factor into whether you will go after life as parole or possibly a death penalty?
In these cases, like any of these cases, we will take the thoughts and desires of the family into consideration in making our decision. Thank you all very much.
All right, we'll bring it back here. We learned a little bit, not much, but I think authorities, just like these other cases that we're seeing, are just under a lot of pressure to get out there and have something to say. AJ, can we get our normal break in real quick? We'll get that done. We'll come back, check in with you again, get the bottom of the hour, and then we'll keep on trucking tonight. Leland Live, Talk 99.5. Y'all, Alabama Gold Refinery's there for you over in Homewood if you want to do some exchanging this Christmas. Man, you could free up some Christmas cash here with just a little over a week to go with just some of the scrap inside your jewelry boxes. Gold is just setting records nowadays in defiance of a lot of other stupid things in the economy. If you're a buyer, they will sell it to you in any form you want. All the metals. In fact, one of our listeners was just telling me how much money He's grown in silver by trading with Alabama Gold Refinery with silver, gold, platinum, all the precious metals. Great location in Hoover across from the big Regions Bank, right there on 29th where some of the nice restaurants are. Easy in, easy out. All the security you would imagine would be in a place like this. There are tax benefits here in the state of Alabama for these kind of exchanges. And Steve is a great guy to get to know. Total resource of information. It's Alabama Gold Refinery, AGR, alabamagoldrefinery.com. All right, we'll take this break. We'll come right back. We'll reset some things and get going again. 545-9950 is the phone number if y'all want to come into the show. Jump on the phone and we'll do that. Leland Live, Talk 99.5. All right, y'all. Burton Campers bringing you the show tonight. I know I always talk about my own setup, but as I got ready for that cold snap last weekend, I did some sort of temporary winterization, but we're going to turn and use ours during the Christmas break. We're going to use it again in February. We've got plans, but some of you are putting them away for the year, and if you're still needing some winterization, if you haven't done it by now, Burton Campers can help you with that, either by selling you all the materials that what we call the pink stuff, the antifreeze that you got to put in your plumbing system, or they'll do it for you. They've got a wonderful service department, and they've been known for that for years. Even if you have a current rig, you can make them your one-stop service place to go get that kind of stuff done. Every now and then when you're going up and down the road, you're going to bump a tree. Something's going to rattle loose. It's just part of the life, right? Or you're going to want to do an upgrade, a tech upgrade, or change out your equipment or TVs or something. I just changed out an outdoor television on mine. Needed an upgrade. Technology moves so quickly. Y'all, reach out to Burton and let them get you fixed up. You still have time. It's the 16th. You still got about a week and a half before Christmas. They can get you lined up so that with financing, and if you know kind of what you're looking for, they probably have what you need on the lot. You can make the big announcement to your family for Christmas that you are you're going camping this year. You're getting a new family camper. So consider your layout, consider your price range, consider how you're going to tow it. Those are the biggest factors, and let Burton hook you up. 50 years in the RV business, and this year they opened a new campus in Jasper just to celebrate the 50th anniversary. Good time to do it, and it gives a lot of ability for folks that are north of the city of Birmingham not to have to travel through all that traffic to get down to Calera. Now you can go visit them in the Jasper location. And same deal, same selection, same good folks. BurtonCampers.com. Let's go camping this year. Make some memories and get on out there. BurtonCampers.com. Man, it's the Dueling News Conferences today. I'm looking here. We've got a news conference set up, or at least they're preliminarily set up at Brown University to go there. I don't know if they're going to announce an arrest. This thing has been fumbled for 3 straight days now. And the interesting thing, and I'm having to walk a line between the innuendo and the internet buzzing right now, but it is curious, and I'll go ahead and share what's being kicked around because it has some plausibility. There is a student connected to the university. I can just say his first name is Mustafa, and suddenly his student profile disappeared from websites associated with the university just a few short minutes ago after, I guess, internet sleuths started honing in on this guy because he looks and fits very much this description of the shooter. The videos that we're now seeing, they could have had this information and these cameras out there sooner. It would have given the public more information to go on, perhaps gotten an arrest sooner. I think we're fortunate that nobody else has gotten hurt. But this doughy, sort of pudgy, short dude waddling through campus prior to the shooting, looking like he's casing the place. There was an enhanced picture of his eyes. He's got a mask. He's pretty well covered. And this is a good time of the year if you want to go out in public completely covered head to toe. Nobody would blame you. It was in the teens. I guess by that night it was probably closer to freezing when that incident happened. The sinister part of all this is the behind the channels, and we had some sound bites earlier because we've got a connection to the story here in Birmingham with Ella Cook being from Mountain Brook. Another connection politically, she was apparently an outspoken Republican and very conservative, the vice president of her Republican club, a minority in a school, a minority in terms of opinion in a school full of liberals and activism and this campus nonsense. So you can see how the PR kicks in on elitist Brown University, and suddenly they go into a defensive posture where they don't put information out. And I'll tell you, here's some background, just anecdotal experience for myself. When they get hesitant about that stuff, they're trying to get their story together. They don't want to say one thing and have to correct it later. And they know, I think internally, they know the image of this is terrible, especially if the scenario plays out, big if, and I'm qualifying it, if it plays out that Ella Cook was targeted because of her political beliefs by yet another radical leftist pro-Palestinian nut job for whatever reason. If it's politics, and that was the reason not only Ella was killed, but that young, enterprising neurosurgeon candidate student that was killed and others that were wounded. By the way, the other kids seem to be doing better as they are hospitalized in the area. Some of the best hospitals in the country are just right up the road in Boston, and I don't know how many of them actually went there. But we may find out some of that here in just a little bit. But this one student that's suddenly being scrubbed, there's a compilation video because, again, he had a high profile. He was an activist in those remember when the Free Palestine movement was upsetting campuses, particularly Ivy League campuses all over the country. That was a big deal just last year. The Trump administration started dealing with it by enforcing civil rights laws on these campuses and saying that you either protect the civil rights of your students, particularly Jewish students and other campus students in a minority opinion, or we're pulling your funding. So some of the schools came to Hill. Some tried to fight the president. Harvard, I think, filed a bunch of lawsuits to protect themselves. These schools have massive endowments from their rich alumni from decades, if not centuries, in the case of Harvard, of giving. But yet they stuck a $50,000 reward out there. I mean, that wouldn't even, would that get you a new car nowadays? I don't even know. What would they don't seem serious about catching this person. They're definitely being sketchy about the information. And now the internet, since this enhanced picture has come out, starting to do their thing, and they start honing in on this one student that was, again, an activist that fits the description, and his site gets scrubbed. Hello. Now, this thing could take a whole nother direction because it has already. And we don't know if that's going to be the person they arrest or eventually identify. But something spooky is going on that campus. And we'll see if they've gotten their act together when they do this news conference this afternoon. They appear to have bumbled their way. And I didn't watch all of the news conferences. I was busy traveling this weekend. But when you had the police chief, this police chief that seems way over his head, having to be interrupted by one of his aides to tell him what to say, how to couch his words. I think at one point he even uttered the phrase, "I'm using the wrong terminology." This guy was politically checking himself like he was mispronouncing somebody in the middle of a news conference. That is highly evasive. It's non-transparent, and it's not necessary in a moment like this. But I think we're going to see a name tonight, and we have this name. Again, I'm not going to give you his full name or anything about him floating around on campus. That it fits what we know about this case more than anything that's been reported so far. And we'll let the authorities talk to us. They don't have a definitive time, and the way these things work is it's a trick in some ways for the media too that are hounding you. You give them a designated press conference or news conference location, and then they don't have any choice but to go there and set up. If you got a lot of out-of-towners on your campus, for example, and then you've sort of gotten them corralled because if they don't go set up, they're going to miss the news conference instead of going around banging on doors and causing you headaches. So they'll send them over to this room, tell them, stand by, we're going to do a news conference, and put them on hold for 2 or 3 hours. But the media have no choice but try to abide by those policies. But this is getting curiouser and curiouser. And as we reported earlier in the show, this Mark Halperin, I don't know if he's still with the New York Times or not, but he has his own little podcast like 10 million people do nowadays. And he was reporting that sources he's developed say that the family's being told that Ella Cook was targeted, that the shooter went in and looked for her. I will say what we know about the video they produced prior to the shooting, the video that was shot or captured prior to the shooting, this guy's walking around casing buildings. Either he's looking for a name or, trying to find where she is on that campus. I don't know how he would have known that if she was targeted. And another place to give some delineation is we don't know if she was targeted for politics or something personal. The politics seem to line up. Both his profile, his activism, her activism, the explosiveness of our campuses, the lack of safety of these campuses, the culpability of the management of these campuses, the incompetence of any time you get a bunch of liberals in charge of anything in a room, utter incompetence. This is on Tim Walz level of incompetence this afternoon with these idiots in Providence, Rhode Island, and on the Brown campus. Don't send your kids to those schools. Let me repeat that. Some of you may not have had a design on doing that. Do not send your kids to an indoctrination factory. I don't care how elite they claim to be. You're going to waste your money. they're no longer elite. They're providing a useless service. No more doors will be open to them. I've seen this firsthand. Society's changing, economies are changing, education's changing. They have almost outlived their usefulness, and now they've become almost dangerous with the cultural environment that some of these campuses are fomenting. And my gut instincts are telling me this is another one of those incompetent cases where Brown University seems to have put its politics ahead of the security of their students once again, and this time it resulted potentially, we're going to find out, in a death on that campus. And again, both the facts as we know them at the moment and the situation of how sketchy the leadership is being has got a lot of people pissed off all around the country, but indeed here at home in Birmingham. Alabama Dental Associates bringing you the show tonight. Y'all get your teeth checked. We got a lot of folks that help you with your home on the show and a lot of folks that help you with your health. Both of those need preventive maintenance. And one of the things you should probably do in the new year, I'm no life coach, but I know I'm struggling. I'm on the struggle bus sometimes myself. Here comes the new year. Here comes everything that we're all trying to do to make those resolutions. And we think about diet and exercise. One of those things ought to be just health checkups, just good old health care. Making sure you're good to go, checking on your overall health, and dental is part of that. Making sure your teeth are good. Preventive maintenance in your dental health is everything. Heading off pain and trauma and issues at the exact wrong time. The good thing about Alabama Dental, though, is with 4 dentists in the practice, they do stretch out their schedule about as much as a dental practice can, being open till 7 at night and being open on Saturdays. So you can get your appointments and get in there. That's good stuff. Y'all, alabamadental.com. That is Dr. Brown and his whole team. Again, 4 dentists, 4 different specialties, just incredible investment in the latest technology, both for diagnosing and treating a myriad of conditions, flexible hours, an incredible team around them. This ought to be your dentist. alabamadental.com, alabamadental.com. All right, y'all. 351 Leland Live Talk 99.5 Work Trucks bringing you the show tonight. Been on the air with us for years, helping people with business get straight on their transportation needs. If you've got a business or even a nonprofit, or you got too many kids and you need to haul them around, Work Trucks may have your solution. These are stripped down, commercial based, get it done vehicles. They're not loaded with fancy things you don't need, but they can move things from A to B the way your business needs to do with low overhead, because they're pre-owned, and that's so key. Low miles. A lot of these are off lease, multiple configurations, different types, box trucks, vans, all kinds of vans, high top Sprinter vans, passenger and cargo, tool body vans. Oh, keep going. Flatbeds, tool body trucks, dualies, plain old pickups, just run around shop trucks. They've got them for you at Work Trucks. They go through them 125 points to make sure everything's straight. Work Trucks, TRUX, WorkTrucksLLC.com, WorkTrucksLLC.com. Man, I'm feeling in my bones a pattern of craziness in the news this afternoon like I haven't seen in a long time. It reminds me of the chaos. In some ways, really, it's maybe an exaggeration, but right after 9/11, remember we had 9/11, and that shocked us. Then we had these anthrax attacks. It was just weird. We've got all of this violence that seems to all be pointed back to, I guess, this pro-Palestinian jihadi ISIS axis of violence. And let me just break it down. So we had the beach attack in Australia targeting Jews. We had the situation in Germany, a situation in Poland that was disrupted. The Polish authorities just disrupted a New Year's Eve attack as well. The L.A. authorities, we heard about this weekend. There were some bombers about to set off bombs all over L.A. Can I keep going? And then, of course, this thing at Brown, if this student, this pro-Palestinian activist student, knocks off a Republican young lady from Mountain Brook by intentionally, if this was a targeted attack based on the politics, which is starting to, there's some spooky vibes going on with that. And then there's this. I've been following this story tonight. I didn't know if it was connected, but we have an MIT professor in Boston right up the road who is pro-Israel and is Jewish, was murdered in his home, and the killer's on the loose. They don't know who did it. Now, we don't know if it's tied. I got to say all that. This guy's name is Nuno Lorio at MIT, right there in Cambridge, across the river from Harvard. I've been on that campus many times. He was a professor of physics and director of their plasma science fusion center. There are some brilliant people walking around on that campus every single day. Now, the area that he lives, that particular area of Boston, it's sort of not directly in Boston, but we call the whole place Boston, it's no stranger to crime, but not as much crime as you have in other parts of Boston. And I guess anybody could get knocked off in their home nowadays. So we don't know if this guy was targeted because of his faith, but again, sometimes there are no coincidences. Suddenly we're dealing with another campus situation where a well-known, high-profile professor just right up the road from this situation at Brown is killed, and we don't know if he was targeted, and we also don't know who shot him. Some parallels, maybe not a connection, but some spooky parallels nonetheless. Y'all smell what I'm stepping in? So is it copycat? Could it be coincidental in that we see a lot of these upticks of incidents this time of the year when there are large public gatherings, particularly in the West, to celebrate things like Christmas and the New Year holidays? Those are easy targets. And sometimes violence begets violence. Some of these ISIS characters want to emulate each other in their planning and their sense of wanting to go out with glory or jihad or all this other stupid stuff. Then you've got, they'll call them lone wolves. All I know is this: the excuse-making of Western civilization has to end. We can no longer ignore that there is an entire body of people, and I'm not even saying a religion. It is a cult-like political body, a militant body of people that are attacking Westerners all over the world. It's happening. There's no denying it. Are they coordinated? Do they talk to each other? Are they on some back channel chatting saying, everybody go and do, everyone go and do your jihad? Are they all deciding to pull some lever and start activating their terror cells? Or is this more copycat stuff, which we know happens with other forms of shooting? We have school shooters that copy each other. For a minute, we had a pattern of transgender nut jobs going out killing people. It's amazing the connection sometimes when you see these cases one after another. And this is within the last 5 days. Terror plots disrupted, violence all over the world, and now the targets all seem to be Jews and or Christians or outspoken people against all this nonsense. It's amazing. It's frightening, actually. So we'll continue to follow this professor case. No sense in tying it directly in right now, but it's got some people alarmed around MIT. I'm trying to get a timestamp on when the professor was found in his home. I think the first time I saw this story was about 2 hours ago. But I don't know exactly when he was killed, or if, again, I don't know. I'm going to just say it out loud. That's so close to the Brown campus. It's not implausible to believe that some of this activity is related. But then again, it's also close in the atmosphere, an elitist campus with these kind of campus politics that are boiling over, perhaps, in this moment.
It looked like that situation happened last night.
Last night.
Yes.
Into today. And again, we got a killer in from Rhode Island. Again, I think the distance is, I bet it's not 100 miles. I'm going to look that up real quick. It'll take me just a second. AJ, can you talk and type at the same time? I'm bad at it.
I can. I had to learn because I also have to push buttons and answer phone calls.
Yeah, we have to multitask. It's part of our job. So I got Providence in there. Let me put Boston, just Boston in general, and see what the distance is. I'm not saying they're the same shooter. Yeah, 49 miles. It's a 2-hour drive from one campus to the other. I don't know if these are connected. I'm just throwing out information. So here's Brown with their setup. The Providence police have their fancy backdrop and their lectern set up with the mics all ganged up on the lectern, and we're about to go live to that whenever they step out. We're going to try to keep our break schedule on time. Keep that in mind, AJ. While I talk about Mandu, we'll go to the top of the hour and come back to this if they have started. I don't know if they appointed 5 o'clock their time, 4 o'clock our time as their hour, but there they stand getting ready. All the reporters are in the room. Mandu bringing you the show tonight. That is over in Homewood. As you get ready to make your New Year's resolutions, y'all get over to Mandu and see what this is about. Gyms have failed you. They have failed me. I don't even like going to them. Some of them are pickup joints. Some of them are just nasty. I don't like waiting on equipment. I like to do my own thing. I've gotten to an age now where I don't need half the stuff in there. I don't need to be working out with all that. I've got my routine, and I've got Mandu. And Mandu is electronic muscle stimulation that can absolutely be a difference maker for you. I know my man Andrew, I saw some life-changing happenings for him when he first started going to Mandu because it's the effectiveness of it. It's the speed with which you get results and the ease of it, the time savings, because it's only a 15-minute workout. You can't even go every day. It's too intense. Find out if it works for you. You got to be medically eligible, and they can help you vet that. And you can do that by going to their website, MANDUU, Mandu.com, Mandu.com. Y'all reach out to them. They're over in Homewood on the main drag, and talk to Paul. They'll let you try it for free for the first time you go, just to let you see if it's something you want to keep doing. And then if you want to sign up, sign up. I think you'll love it more than a gym. Your own dressing room, your own personal trainer, and you're out of there. How about that? Mandu.com.